Hi, how you guys doing? I was just kind of trying to see how you out there, see you a little bit and see what's going on. Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, uh, uh, I got nothing to say, but I've been in a sort of a Cape Fear battle with a rodent in my room lately. So I'll get to that later on. But I think we should basically it's the off night where we talk about comics and all kind of fanfare like that. And I'll bring out your host and MC, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
All right, there we go. Okay. All right. That's my fancy intro. As best as I can do. Let me I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for joining us for as you can see there, the 249th episode of The Off Night. And here's my co-host, Andy Jensen. Been with us since, I don't know, probably about episode 230, I guess. It's been a while.
And I haven't aged a bit. So it's
no, not a bit. Not a bit.
Suspicious, like I could be an alien. I don't know.
I don't know. I have a picture of my daughters at the ale house, and I was showing them the picture, and they go, "Hey, Santa's behind us."
There you go. Santa's back there. So, are you living with all eight of your kids right now?
Let's see. Let's put it this way: 7 of them will file taxes at the same address that I file taxes.
I see.
We don't see all of them all the time, but this is their home base. And my oldest, the one that got married in October, is the only one who, God willing, will never move back again. Not because of him. In fact, he's one that we enjoy a lot. I mean, not that we don't enjoy the others.
Yeah, that's right. There's no favorites.
I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful where I'm stepping on this.
You're stepping very hard on a lot of different, and it's recorded. You can't get away from it. It's recorded.
It is recorded. I can't get away from it. You're right. And gee, it would be a shame if some of them got so upset that they left the house. That would really be a shame.
Yeah.
That would just be horrible if that happened.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are any of them going to be upset by this to be able to move out? Or do you leave little hints about possibly moving out?
Yeah. We split up the expenses and we asked them to help out with expenses. And the thing is, it's not that
shock any of them.
Well, it's one of them said, I'm going to leave them nameless, but one of them said that didn't seem fair that we would do this to them. And I said, well, everybody's getting it, and it's splitting evenly. It's divided by the number of, and here's the good part: if you move out, everybody else's expenses will be split by one less person, so you'll be increasing their amount that they're chipping in. So consider that.
So your incentive is to screw the other kids by moving out.
Exactly. Well, I'm not saying I raised them properly, but at least I've gotten them ready for the Trump era. Yeah.
There you go. Getting ready for what the world is really like out there.
Exactly.
Got it.
No, I said, I actually told one of them, I said, I tell you what, if you move, we started this February 1st. I said, if you move out March 1st, I'll give you 100% back. I'll give it all back to you. If you move out by April 1st, you'll get 90% of it back. If you move out, I'll save it and I'll give you 90%. If you move out by May 1st, you'll get 80% of it back. And it just goes down. If they don't move out until Christmas, they ain't getting anything back.
So now, it's okay to say and incentivize them to move out, but do they have the tools to move out? Do they have a way of earning income?
Well, we had thought so. At least they had to move back.
They all got some degrees, right?
But what? Here's another deal we offered. And you know what? I'm gonna table this discussion because my wife is with me, and then she can contribute to the conversation and tell me when I should shut up.
Okay.
And she always leads off our little cavalcade here with a newsworthy poem. So let's get her out here. Here's Susan.
Hi.
All right.
Hi,
Hi,
dear.
Susan.
Hey, you changed.
Everything Mark said is pretty accurate. 7 of the 8 are
I tell you what. If all of our children
they're getting a rent discount,
yeah,
but
real
not
discount.
paying rent, just
Yeah,
paying
we told
their share of utilities. Hey, you know what? They're all adults now, so that's a good thing. The only one we're not charging for their share of utilities is our youngest, because she is finishing high school.
Oh, okay. All right, it makes sense.
And we gave a discount to anybody that goes to school.
Oh, got it.
Yes, just
that's
help
the incentive to
subsidize
have
it.
them.
But
That's the incentive
the other
to keep them
thing
in
I
school.
want to say is one child thought it was unfair and came to me and thought that parents would be helping this said child get back on their feet. And I said, well, it's been 6 months. I think we have helped. They had some other arguments, and I said, and how old are you? So that discussion kind of concluded, because I think they had some light bulb moment that maybe things weren't so bad under the request that mom and dad make for helping with utilities. It's like, you live here, you're using the water, you're enjoying the heat, you're turning on lights, like.
I take the Mr. Belvedere approach. If you can find a better deal, buy it.
That's right. So, but I was straightforward.
We'll have to explain to Sam. We'll have to explain to Sam who Mr. Belvedere is.
Yeah.
At some point, that house will be sold and fund our retirement.
Yeah.
Look, my mom and my grandmother lived into their 90s, so I have every expectation that barring accident or injury or severe illness, I shall possibly need to fund my retirement for at least another 30 years. So
yeah, there you go.
What do I need with a 5-bedroom
she's lucky
house?
she's lucky because my parents died in their 70s.
I'm lucky. Ooh, fireworks! All right, do you want enough of that? We love all our children very much.
Yeah.
And I would like to read the poem that I wrote for you.
Sounds good.
I'm going to put you on here, and time to take it away.
Mark has me do a topical poem every week with kind of the current events. So here we go for February 10th, 2025. Interesting week we had this year. So much to say. I hope nothing to fear. Mr. Trump is doing the things that he does, disrespecting the law and making up buzz. The Eagles defeated the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Elon Musk might think the Treasury is his own bankroll. Trump halts minting of new pennies as wasteful, and all his executive orders seem very distasteful. Vance is questioning the authority of what U.S. judges see. Did he miss civics class when earning that fancy Yale Law School degree? How do you explain separations of powers to a child? Pay no attention to the White House as your country is defiled.
Ooh.
Interesting year we had this week. Wish news was happier and much less bleak. And that's your poem.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Like we had a year of news in a week.
That's almost Orwellian, you know.
Well,
1984 poem, you know.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Fahrenheit Susan. Anyway, let's get our other crew out here. Here from New York City. Here's Sam Greenfield. Can you hear us, Sam?
Did you see what I wrote about the Super Bowl?
I hear Sam.
I can hear him, but I can't see him. Oh, I see him. He's very, very dark.
Oh, turn the lights on, Sam.
Well, it's like Rear Window, you know.
Oh, that's right.
Also coming in from Ypsilanti, Michigan, Jason Grant.
Hey,
guys.
Jason.
Hey, and just remind
Here's
the kids that
Do I have to turn the lights on?
No.
You can leave the lights off. I can tell it's you. That's good enough.
I don't want to get up.
No,
It's okay.
That's fine.
You'll be the voice of reason from the darkness, you know.
No, I'm talking to my crew here.
Okay.
Are you still in the rehab facility?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Here.
I don't want to say that the Super Bowl was a slaughter, but I heard that Taylor Swift is now dating Cooper Kupp.
There's talk about Cooper Kupp coming to the Lions.
God, I love
That'd be
dudes
fun.
with alliterative
Taylor
names.
Swift got booed because I guess she used to be an Eagles fan.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When I watched the game, and they introduced the Chiefs, I thought the crowd was booing,
Mm.
and then when they introduced the Eagles, I thought the crowd was cheering.
Well, if they had
Maybe.
enough Philadelphia fans in there, they would be booing. That's what Philly's.
I mean, but a lot evidently.
Well,
Yeah.
think about it. You spent your wad 4 times already to go to the Super Bowl if you're a Chiefs fan. Yeah, how often do you go if you're a Phillies fan? You know?
Let's talk about the music. Didn't John Baptiste do a great national anthem?
Did you see it? I missed it.
You didn't see it? I watched
missed
it on
it.
YouTube because I missed
Oh.
the very beginning of the
Oh,
game,
oh.
but
Yeah,
it was
because
great.
I thought
If you
I thought
missed
you were on.
John Baptiste doing the national anthem, watch it.
Okay.
I'm sure you have
All right.
2.5 minutes out of your day that you could watch.
All right. We'll do that. I'll do that.
Listen to it.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
All right.
There's only one national anthem worth listening to.
And which one is that?
Marvin Gaye.
Oh, you know what?
I mean that.
Yeah. I did. Did they do Lift Every Voice and Sing again?
Yeah, I think they did.
I only saw the second half because I had a show last night, so I only saw after
You
halftime.
did the
I missed
show
the
last night?
Yeah, at the Unclub Sunday. Jason,
What?
when have we ever not done a show at the
2 years ago. 2 years
2 years
I
ago we
showed
didn't
up.
do
It
one?
was 2 years ago.
He had 4 signups. 3
it was
people showed up, and we were out of there by 8 o'clock.
Damn.
Was it 2 years ago we didn't do one? No.
It was 2 years ago. It wasn't open on Super Bowl.
Oh, that's because the restaurant didn't open.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if the restaurant's open, we usually do a show.
Yeah, and that I just the thing is I've since I've been doing a little more Ubering these days and being a little less of a isolated sociopath. I've been trying to test out some new material on my captive audience of 1 or 2 in the back seat. So again, please mention sociopath.
Do the joke start out? Do the joke start out with "I know you didn't pay to hear me talk, but."
Hey guys, I do a little bit of stand-up on the side. Would you like to hear my new opener? And at that point, they're like, stop the car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why don't the doors open? Why don't the doors open? I got them on child locks. So you gotta listen.
If I was in your back seat and you said I do a little stand-up, I'd say, please do not stand up right now.
Or if that was me, I'd say I am standing up. Go to hell.
Sam,
well, gentlemen, I am going to say until next week.
Susan, could you stay for just one
right.
second? And I
One
don't mean
second.
to butt in, but this is something I seriously, I would like to hear your opinion of this. We had a Michigan representative who went out and claimed that she sterilized herself because of Trump and all this. Susan Pahutsky, I believe her name is. You guys may know her. You're a little more connected
That's
than I
our
am.
yeah. She's our former representative.
And I'm just curious, Susan. You're a woman, obviously. You're in Trump's America and Michigan. What do you think about all this? You know, do you have any opinions
I have lots of opinions, but
on this particular subject?
I'd rather speak from experience. And I told this story last week to some people who didn't know that we have 8 children, and this woman's chin about hit the floor. But I said, you know, after my husband got snip, we had 5 more children. So I don't really
Who knew?
care genetics. All children are valuable. Whatever your opinion is, before they're born, you're entitled to your opinion. I care about the kids who are already here, and there are plenty of children that need a home. So if anybody wants to be a parent, there are lots and lots of children that don't have parents.
There are
So
children that are valuable, and I'm asking
all
$50.
so that's
And
my 2
raincoat.
cents.
Coyote.
And I hope we get away from this checkerboard mishmash of women's health care.
All right. No,
All right.
thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. Thanks for
All
the
right.
phone.
Bye,
Bye.
sweetie. We'll see you later. Hey, what did Lori Pahutsky say?
She was in the news earlier in the week for claiming that she had herself, quote unquote, sterilized. What exactly that means, whether we're
She
talking
had her
about
what sterilized?
she has rendered herself sterile. She will not be having children, and she claimed it was because she was feeling oppressed in Trump's America and whatnot. I find it interesting in the sense that, you know, you live in the state of Michigan where we have enshrined abortion rights up to the very last moment of gestation in our Constitution. The people have voted. It's not the way I would have voted, but that's the way they voted, and that is the law of the land in the state of Michigan. So personally, I found it just to be just ridiculously grandstandy. But
No,
I mean,
yeah,
politicians
but
are going to grandstand. What are you going to do?
you know,
And I did want to hear what Susan had to say. Obviously, she knows a thing or two about children, hers and
well,
others.
here the thing that to me the thing that I find interesting about it is she's in her 3rd term now, or 4th.
Yes.
Her 4th term. Anyway, they've extended the terms now. It used to be you could only do
2 and 3.
3 as a state rep and 2 as a Senate. What they decided to do is lengthen it for just instead of doing 2, 3, 4, 8 as a rep, and then was it 12 as a senator? They decided to extend it so that you can do 10 years in the legislature, and you can switch back and forth between Senate and House. Because what was happening is if people would spend all their time in the House or the Senate, and then they couldn't go to the other house if they chose to. And so they thought this was a better way to keep people that were good, and if people were ambitious, it would allow them to go to a higher office or something.
I think it's God's will.
But anyway, she, I'll never forget when she ran, she knocked on her door, and she was a baby. I mean, I thought I was buying Girl Scout cookies from her. I mean, she was just
That always excites me
tiny,
when that happens around my house, but never mind that.
She's a tiny little thing, and then she gets into the house, and we get into the House of Representatives. We find out she's bisexual.
So she's never lonely on Saturdays.
Well, and then this last year she got married, which meant she picked a side, and and so
not necessarily. She might be dabbling.
Well, you don't get married for that, though. Marriage is, something you make a commitment for. Well, I think
calm I don't even, down.
What's our Jason? What's our domestic partner laws in our state?
In this day, I believe now, that you basically can marry anything as long as it's got like 2 legs, not 4.
I know, but what if let's say you're bisexual and you decide not to get married? Are there any legal standings for that?
Yes, there are. And Michigan kind of led the way with, I believe her name was Justice Rose Bird, who was sitting on the Michigan Supreme Court when she said these relationships were meretricious, because she struck down the concept in Michigan of common law marriage and stated because common law marriage assumed that if you were acting as if you were married long enough, then you became de facto married as well as de jure.
That's what they have in Ohio.
And no, not now. No, she actually said, no, that is not the case. If you're not married, you are not married.
Isn't common law just meaning you're living together? Isn't that all that is?
In Ohio, now I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was in Michigan, but in Ohio right now, and it has been since Ohio became a state, if you cohabitate with a person of the opposite sex for 7 years, the state considers you married.
Well, in Ohio, if you cohabitate with anything for 7 years, they'll consider you kind of married. Yeah, I mean, part of this.
Well, they're eating your pets. They're eating your cats. They're eating your dogs. So
when that becomes a TikTok, you knew you guys should have known you had a problem when the kids were dancing to that in a TikTok beat. It's like, wow, it's a different world now. At any rate, the last time I was in law school, that had been the status that had changed. That we were not going to accept or acknowledge common law marriage in the state of Michigan. That came from the Michigan Supreme Court. Common law, the definition of common law, it comes from England, obviously, as most of our legal system does. And it's just sort of another way of saying accepted practice or tradition that has found its way into legal standing. It has not been codified by statute. Where statutory law is the Senate passes something. Go ahead.
Right. Just like when our speed limit was 55, and the common law was 75.
Pretty much. Well, there you're running into statutory, and that would be what would be known as malum prohibitum, which is to say you didn't have to have any kind of intent. You have to have intent to steal something. But if you break the law by speeding, it didn't matter. You went faster than the speed limit, period, end of story. You're guilty of this particular infraction, as opposed to malum.
Jason, you and all your legal terms, and my wife with her legal profession, I feel so shriveled.
Well,
you shouldn't bathe that much.
Legalese. You guys start talking legalese, I just start to shrivel right up.
Well, I'll be over with some warm hands and some baby lotion, and we can maybe change that.
Again with the penises.
Again.
What do you want from me?
I believe it's actually peni.
If I start talking about the vag, you guys are just going to say I'm trying to pass. I mean, you're going to sit there and say, well, what do you know about it? I mean, closest the vag, the vag had you and you never looked back. I mean, so come on. I mean, I gotta swing into it, as it were. All
right, what do we want to talk about tonight? We want to do a Super Bowl. We want to do. Hey, I got something. There's something that Trump did that did not offend me. In fact, I think it's.
I know what it is.
It's something that we needed.
I know what it is.
We're no longer going to mint pennies.
Yeah.
Why? It's a fine department store.
Finally, he's hit upon, just by mistake, he's hit upon a bipartisan issue.
After that, this is not a joke. After that, he's going after nickels.
Yeah, of course.
I'm serious.
Jefferson.
Well, why not?
I was going to say Sheriff.
He wants everybody to go to his crypto coin, his Trump.
Why would he want people to go after something he doesn't understand?
Well,
like civics.
Because it brings him, it brings him money.
Well, the thing, generally.
Here's another thing. Here's another thing I've been thinking about. We need to get a billionaire to go against all the other billionaires, because I can't believe all the billionaires are all for this shit.
Some are, some aren't. You know how this is. I mean, by the time you even know who these people are, they're already middle management.
I think that's
Yeah.
a fool's errand, Mark. You're never going to get them
What's that?
I think that they're in league with Trump because he makes them
I
money.
heard.
And if you're a billionaire, that's that's the reason you're with him.
Well, I
but-
heard.
but-
Who's the Microsoft guy? Gates.
Yes.
Hates him.
I heard Gates, who's put billions toward giving vaccines worldwide to people, kind of upset that he says we can't do this on our own. We do need government help with this stuff, and the billions of dollars that his foundation puts towards spreading vaccines around the world. Bill Gates, that's his name. Bill Gates. He says we still need governments to help us with this.
Not to be confused with Gates Brown. It's a different Gates.
No, there is a difference.
Yeah.
Well, I think the big news of the week.
No one ever called Bill Gates the Gator.
I think the big news of the week is that Rachel Maddow is now going back to 5 days a week.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Because the ratings at NBC have tanked, and they said, "Listen, we're paying you $30 million a year.
Get on the
brush your teeth and start smiling."
Yeah, exactly. Do you see CBS News went to an hour tonight?
Yes,
Wow.
They're doing.
despite the petition.
Yeah. I still don't. You know what's weird about the CBS News? They've gone back to that 2-man format, that Huntley Brinkley.
Yeah, I was about to bring them up. Yeah, they all.
That Huntley Brinkley format. And when they had Huntley Brinkley, and they had who were the guys at ABC that did the same thing?
Well, Harry Reasoner and
Howard K. Smith and Harry Reasoner and Howard K. Smith on ABC. Yeah. And that didn't seem awkward. Now that we've had a single anchor for all these years, you go back to two guys sitting next to each other at the desk, it just feels awkward,
Well, how about the sign up, which used to be "Good night, Chet," "Good night, David." Which,
yes.
Yeah, which nowadays, in retrospect, it's Chet Huntley did not like that at all. Brinkley used to laugh his ass off about it, but he was far more younger and a little more avuncular than Huntley was. I mean,
this is something that
all I remember is Walter Cronkite talking to us live to this screen.
This is something that you
go ahead.
Yeah.
This is something you guys won't remember, but since I do you know what Chet Huntley's wife's name was?
Mrs. Chet Huntley?
Buff Cobb.
Buff Cobb?
Buff Cobb, which to me sounds like a command.
It does. It does.
That was my stage name at a game bar in Arizona.
I don't need your back talk. All I need from you is some Buff Cobb.
There's a Buff Cobb. Listen, you.
Well, it used to be Buff Knob, but
I'm the gay one.
And she was a newscaster.
Oh wow!
Wasn't Mrs. Johnny Carson the second Johnny Carson's wife? The one that was like from the early 60s to the end of the 60s. Wasn't she also a TV personality?
Who, Joanna?
Yeah.
Joanna?
Yeah. Not the first one. I mean,
she was the title of a Cooling Gang song.
That, yeah, okay. Because we had Joanna 2.0. And the last one, Gold Digger St. Valentine, or whatever her name was.
He was evidently a delight to be married to.
Well, you can only imagine. But if it's Johnny Carson, it's like, honey, you do whatever you want. I'm going to be on this wing of the mansion. Yeah,
he and the babysitter. There we go.
Exactly.
I was watching Rodney Dangerfield on the Facebook, and he goes,
Yeah.
I don't like to drink. It's really not good for me. The last time I drank a lot, I'm sure you're the same way, Johnny. You wake up in the morning with a hangover, and there's some kid speaking a foreign language kissing your feet.
Just happens to you too.
Carson probably laid out on that one. That's the type of thing.
Carson almost he fell apart.
Rickles was on with him once, and he was doing Don. And he just looked at Johnny. He said, once again, Mr. Carson, I remember they admonished you at the health club for sitting in the hallway with your robe open. And he looks at Rick and goes, well, I heard you were going to drop by. Those two guys, when they got rolling, same thing like when Robert Blake would show up, blasted out of his mind. He hadn't killed his wife yet.
Couldn't stand Robert Blake on that show.
Really?
Couldn't stand, because, this is probably just me, but he was so fascinated by the sound of his own voice.
Yeah.
And he just he was trying so hard to sound witty, and he wasn't. And he was trying so hard to sound cool, and he wasn't. He was just drunk. And it annoyed me. All these people who give their eye teeth to be on that show. Well, let's get the drunk. Well, wait a minute. Here's an encore. He's going to kill his wife.
Yeah.
The combo I always enjoyed was Tony Randall on the David Letterman show.
I never saw that.
Oh
my God.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh my God.
They were Randall lived near Broadway and 53rd Street, where the Ed Sullivan Theater is, and so they would call him whenever they had a fallout or something.
Right.
That's like John McCain. Whenever we had a news show, well, I was on the news, but we had a news show and somebody canceled. McCain was always at the ready. McCain would show up for the opening of a refrigerator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you remember when Brother Theodore would show up on David Letterman, because again, they're in New York.
Brother Theodore?
Yes.
I saw him do a live show.
God, I would have paid money to see that.
How was that show?
It was hysterical. He says to the girl I'm dating, he goes, "You seem very attractive." Of course, the key word there is seem. He goes, "Would you like to be my buttercup? Would you like to be my honey lamb?" And she goes, "No, thank you." He goes, "Very well then. Evidently, you just make the average looking man seem less than average." And what killed me was when he appeared on the Letterman show, Brother Theodore, right? Letterman would always go, "Ted, how are you?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Ted.
You should have seen there. He did I think it was a Mike Douglas show or a Murph Griffin with Jerry Lewis was on. This had to be about like 67 or 68. And they told him to go after Jerry, and Jerry was not having it. And it was funnier than hell, because you could tell he was on one nerve. He was on Jerry Lewis's nerve. And Jerry was not appreciative in the slightest. But that's what made the tension on the set so funny. It was a great bit. It's on YouTube. And
the thing that always amazed me about Jerry Lewis was, as I watched him perform, I always felt that he was like one person interrupting him away from just blowing up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, do you remember the one guy who was like,
and not in a good way, just
remember the
blowing
Jerry
up?
Lewis look-alike? I think he was like in, the late 50s, early 60s. There was a guy out there who sounded just like Jerry. They put him in
London Lee.
Yeah, and Jerry at one point they were going to try and do kind of a show, have him walk on stage, and Jerry Lewis wouldn't have it.
His name was London Lee.
Okay, yeah. Well, you know who I mean, though, right? I mean, he was like, he'd be like the cheap knockoff Jerry Lewis stand-in, for like he was like in a Bowery Boy movie and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, Jerry wouldn't have it. Jerry wouldn't do anything with him, and Jerry Lewis always seemed to me like he was just really an awful, god-awful human being. Even as a kid, I got that impression. But I don't know. It was
always amazing to me that Dean Martin was evidently a very decent, kind-hearted fellow, and
yes,
he worked with Lewis, who was not that.
No. When you die surrounded by serpents in your bed, and no one else, it kind of. But then again, Johnny died all alone of emphysema in a hospital in like Bel Air. Meanwhile, the Alexis, the last wife, was busy with her accountant going over, okay, how much is in that account? All right, good. Now, how much do we get for that? Right, good. How much do we have to give to one of the kids that are still alive? All right, fine. she ended up with the money, except for that he did create like the Johnny Carson Foundation that ended up getting a lot of the royalties from the TV show, which are still piling in to this day. But,
Here's a bit of interesting trivia. You
Yeah.
know the Jerry Lewis's son, Gary Lewis,
yes, Gary Lewis and
Yes.
the Playboys.
who wrote who was his Diamond Ring and all that.
Yeah.
You know who arranged that album?
Not one of the
Leon
Cosby
Russell.
Kids. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Leon Russell was I mean, he arranged. He worked with Sonny and Cher. He was a member of the Wrecking Crew. The guy was all over the place. He's also the guy who found Rita Coolidge. And
Found
Rita
who?
Coolidge. He found Rita Coolidge. That's the
I'll
song
never
called
forgive
Lady.
him for that.
Finding her or losing
God,
her?
I couldn't stand her.
Well, one thing
When I heard Boz Scaggs sing that song, "We're All Alone,"
yeah.
and then I heard her sing it, I wanted to get a federal law passed that she couldn't sing it anymore.
You're harsh, dude. God.
No, I didn't think she, she was like a brunette Linda McCartney. I just couldn't.
Oh, man.
Who are we talking about?
Put down the matches.
Rita
Sam,
Coolidge.
Oh, Rita Coolidge, yeah.
Well, one thing she wrote is a song called Home, which was a little piano interlude.
Driving at night, the headlights are bright. That one?
No, different. It's never. It's only. You can look it on the internet. You can find it. But it became the piano outro for Layla, and she gets no credit for it whatsoever.
You know what I found out in the movie Goodfellas?
Yeah.
When they're playing Layla.
Yeah.
That's Martin Scorsese at the keyboards.
Oh, really?
Well, that keyboard part was written by Rita Coolidge.
But he's playing the piano in that song.
No, really?
Yep.
Huh?
I didn't know he could play piano.
I had no idea.
I didn't know he could. I didn't know he could direct a movie where no one died.
Well, didn't he do Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore?
Say again.
Didn't he do Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore? 1971, Christopher Christopherson, Ellen Burstyn.
With Ellen Burstyn
and
Harvey Keitel.
It doesn't end like with her going into the coffee shop and slaying all the patrons. It would have been a more interesting movie if it had, but and she's playing sort of an open micer who's also doing waitressing work. There's a
by the way, Jason.
Yes, sir.
I thought you'd get a kick out of this.
Oh dear.
I'm doing this. I'm in this rehab center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you saw the average age of the people here, you realize is a nursing home.
Yes.
And no, it is. And
yeah.
I was telling Mark this. I'm 77, and I am easily not the oldest person there.
Right.
I mean, so there are people there who say something like, that punk Woodrow Wilson is getting on my goddamn nerves.
And that wife of his, who does she think she is?
Sam, I'm not saying you're young, but they're calling you frail bait.
That's funny. Hey kid, you got any cigs?
Hey kid, can you drive?
That's actually a good question.
Hey kid, do you know how to change the TV station?
Hey kid, what's streaming?
I mean, besides what's going on.
Streaming there takes on a whole nother meaning.
I bet it does.
True.
I mean, you're
you
probably
always
rather
interrupted. There we go.
Hey kid, make that circle on the screen stop going around.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Oh my goodness.
Hey kid, how come there's so many black ball players?
Jesus Christ, I can let them play basketball, they'll be everywhere.
That's the older ones. The kids the people that are in their 60s are going, what happened to all the black ball players?
Hey, you guys are basketball aficionados. When did that color line in basketball get broken, and who broke it?
Say that again?
Who broke the color line in basketball? Because I remember vaguely when it was like an all-white lots of big.
It was
big Irish
Jewish.
guys.
It was all
it was
Jewish.
like in the 40s.
Really?
I can't remember, and I think he played for the Knicks or the Celtics, one or the other.
The Celtics? Like
Yeah,
the most
oh yeah.
racist team ever?
You know something? You know the comic. Damn it. He
Earl
wrote.
Lloyd. Earl Lloyd.
Here,
October.
Okay.
who's the guy who's
Earl Lloyd, Sam. Earl Lloyd
Brian
was
Kiley?
Right. Oh, I know who you're talking
Brian
about.
Kiley's from Boston, and
Yeah.
I used to tell him I thought the Celtics are racist, and he said something to me, and I think he's right, which is they're not racist. Okay, they're paying attention to their market, because if they were racist, they would have a shitty team and not care. But they had great teams.
Yeah.
They had Larry Bird, they had Kevin McHale, they had Danny Ainge, so it was they had really good teams. Now, like I said, if you had guys who were horrible,
Right.
then you have a point.
Well,
But
their first black player was not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but the other guy whose name.
Sam. The
Yeah.
first black player in the NBA was Earl Lloyd.
who do you
came
play
into
for?
For the Washington Capitals, your own.
Oh my God! Oh, and who discovered him? Red Auerbach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
came in on the game on October 31st, 1950. Obviously not a Halloween costume. And in a game against the Rochester Royals, who are now the Sacramento Kings,
Who became the Cincinnati Bearcats, who
and then they
became
became
the Omaha City Kings,
no, I think they went to Kansas City first.
something like that.
They went from Rochester to Cincinnati to Kansas City to Sacramento.
Was Detroit the Pistons yet, or were they still down in Fort Wayne?
Detroit's only been two teams, and they were the Zollner Pistons in
the Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne, yep, and the
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons. Now it's interesting that back then the Zollner Pistons were because the owner of the team also owned a company called Zollner Pistons. He supplied pistons and piston assemblies to the automotive companies.
Well,
And so
just
this was his company team, and it was like a club team, and they would go out and they would challenge other manufacturers and businesses. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but I remember when I was a kid, my family was a General Motors family. Sue's family was a Chrysler family.
I was a Ford family.
But Ford had the best intramural stuff. They had choirs, they had community theater, and these were all employees that were part of the choir, the basketball team, the baseball team. So it didn't surprise me when I found out that the Pistons were once a company team out of Fort Wayne, rather.
And virtually all of the owners in the NBA were Jewish.
No, Zollner
All
was.
part of the, clearly part of the conspiracy.
Zollner was Jewish. Red Auerbach was Jewish.
Yep.
And I think I told you this. Red Auerbach's number was listed in the phone book.
You're kidding me.
Nope, you could call him. He lived on Legation Street.
I don't know that I would want to call Red Auerbach. That would be, I don't know.
Virtually no one called him.
And coincidentally enough, Casey Stengel is the reason why we have unlisted numbers. Anyway.
Oh, man.
Hey, will anyone ever forget
Guy wins 6 World Series.
Yeah.
He loses one and they fire him.
Yeah. Well,
hey, I'm sure that there was a young George Steinbrenner that said, "Hey, I like their style."
Well, I always remember Yogi Berra saying, if people don't want to come out to the game, you can't stop them.
Yeah.
And if you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Take
there
it.
you go.
That restaurant's no good anymore. It's too crowded.
That's right. Yeah, nobody goes there. It's too crowded.
It's too crowded.
Oh my God. And Billy
Thank
Martin
God.
said something like, "Yeah, give me another shot. I gotta drive home."
If Yogi Berra had not been, we would have had to have invented him. That's all there is to it.
Oh, yeah.
Would you do me a favor? Oh, I got to do this, I guess. Hang on.
Uh-oh. We don't need to see that, Sam.
Careful, Sam. What are you pointing at? Don't.
Sam, we don't need to see that.
No.
Sam, we said.
You said, can I do?
I mean, I'm nice enough to do this while wearing men's clothing.
Well, what was that I was taking? What was that I just swallowed?
You know, when
No, I
I'm
said that.
when I'm doing this show from a nursing home, I'm going to have better lighting.
Oh,
That's all.
good. I need that. Thank you.
Take one for heart rate and.
No, that's great. I need the blood thinner. Thank you very much.
See, when I do it, my final podcast will be well lit from a wooden box with nice plush line blue, maybe a suit they bought just for the occasion. I remember listening to a replay of the Opie and Anthony show the day after Patrice had died, and what's his name? One of the comedians came on, and Dave Attell, and they were talking. They've been talking about Patrice all day and saying horrible things and funny things.
No
about
problem.
him. And
Hey, how'd
Dave
you get
Attell-
light?
Hey,
Where'd the light come from?
From the
Wow.
Lord. One of our people who passes out pharmaceuticals had to turn on the light.
Well, here's some more Yogi Berra quotes. You can observe a lot by just watching.
God, if I don't look like Cousin Fester.
No. And Nickel,
You know who
ain't
you look
worth
like? I tell you
anymore.
what, I'm going to give you one. You're a cross between. Hold on, I got to think of his name before. It's Uncle Fester and.
Jackie Coogan.
No. Oh, Mark.
Kay
come on.
Ballard.
No.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Nope. I got to Google it. Sorry.
Any old dyke.
Oh God! Let's not bring Rachel Maddow back into this. You think she ever goes to a weekend retreat at the Janet Reno lookalike? Where
You look like
everyone dresses
you look like a cross between Uncle Fester and Nick Saban.
up? Okay, I wouldn't
Wow,
put those
that's
two
cold.
together. Yeah,
That's cold.
but at least you'd have some national championships to show for it.
Nick
So
Saban.
It must be the angle. It's the angle and the. Yeah, there it is, right there. That is the
That's
Nick
it,
Saban
yep.
look right there. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
I'll tell you what I look like. Dom DeLuise if he was straight.
hey, how do you know he wasn't? He had a wife, sort of, kind of,
Hey, here's
yeah.
now that Philadelphia has they've been in the Super Bowl 4 times and won twice. Am I correct? Or
That's
this is
correct.
Okay. Here's what we need. We need, because in the 50s, the championship was either won by the Lions or the Browns. We need the Lions and the Browns to be in the Super Bowl next year. It's only neither one of them have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You know.
good luck with the Browns.
Yeah.
I think the
It's
last
not
time
going
the
to
Browns,
happen.
I think the last time the Browns beat the Lions was that year that we went 0-16.
The last time the Browns won a championship was 1964.
Yeah, it was 2 years before the Super Bowl.
Okay, so when does Buffalo win the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Well,
Buffalo's
Buffalo's
got
at least been to the Super Bowl 4 times.
Oh, yes, it has. Yeah,
4 times
but,
in a row and lost every time.
Just like
And one
just
of
like
them,
our dear
and one of
friends,
them,
the
and
Vikings.
one of them was on that field goal.
One of them was what?
They missed that field goal, that last second field goal.
You
That was
know,
a chip
that
shot.
always killed me because had he made it, they would have said, "Oh, the Giants are terrible. They're awful." But because he missed it, they go, "Oh, the Giants are great." Oh, by the way, there's a commercial where Phil Simms actually says this about himself. Okay, he goes, "Hi, everybody. I'm NFL living legend Phil Simms." I went, "Really,
Oh.
Phil?"
You know, the rumor was back in the day that he was not well liked by his team. And if you want to verify that, go back and look at the times that he got sacked and the number of people who went back to help him up.
Drink your
you'd find
Bigelow tea and shut up.
there would be a pretty small number of people that they're like, "Oh, you got run over. No, that's too bad. Jeez, be a shame if it happened again, wouldn't it, Phil?"
Who's the most hated Lion?
Most who?
Most hated
Who is
Lion
the
of all
mo-
time, or because that's almost a coach
It's
thing.
anybody that
when
you
you
remember?
think
Oh,
about it.
anyone that you can remember that the fans did not like or don't like.
Well, I know Dominic Raiola got into it with the fans on more than a few occasions because he was the center during some of the years when we just really were not very good. And
Do you know that his I got to look up his kid. His kid is like a Heisman candidate this year.
oh, Dominic was a great center. I mean, you tried doing that job in and out for the number of years that he did it. I mean, it's one of the toughest jobs in sports.
Here's something you may not know.
Yes, sir.
You remember the guy who threw the bottle at Meta B Peace?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and he walked into the stands to go after the kid who hadn't
Yeah.
hit anybody.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who was restraining him was the guy who actually threw the bottle.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, when Charles Barkley got mad one time and ended up spitting on a little girl, and it's like, you know, when you get again that whole retaliation thing, it never works out as well as you think it's going to.
Back to Dominic Raiola. I just looked up
Yes.
his son Dylan.
Yeah.
Was the only freshman to start for a Power 5 a Division I football team. He'll be a sophomore next year for Nebraska, but they're talking about him by the time he's a senior being a Heisman candidate.
What position is he playing? Is he a center
Quarterback.
like his dad?
He's a quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But if he gets 4 years at Nebraska, he'll be pretty good.
Well, that's the thing. The NFL is one of those things where there's an awful lot of families that.
Okay.
Uh-oh. What's going on? They turned the lights out on Sam.
Again?
Well, yes, they did.
Do you have a roommate?
I do.
Oh.
That's the worst thing about being in a hospital.
No, it's not. It's not even third.
I guess you're right.
From a person who hasn't been in the hospital lately, I'm talking to you. Let me speak from experience. You're wrong.
All right. Trying to think of the last time I was in the
Care to
hospital.
list your top 3 reasons why the hospitals are not so great, Sam?
Can't do it right now.
Okay.
Once I step out of the hospital, then I'll do it.
Then well, tune in next week.
Let's move to another statement. Like, how about that Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, how about that, Jaden Daniels?
Oh dear. No, there you go.
So you watched the Super Bowl, Sam? What did you think?
Every minute.
Oh dear.
I saw the second half and the Chiefs outscored the Eagles 22-20. So
We call that a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, at the end they were just saying, give him the ball. Yeah, go ahead, give him the ball.
Can I tell you something? I would have put my foot right down on their necks. I wouldn't have given them a dime.
Nothing.
Yeah, I wanted to sell T-shirts saying "3-peat my ass."
Yeah, no,
I bet that would sell in Philly.
Oh yeah.
My sister-in-law would buy one of those for you. She's a huge Eagles fan.
I want to tell you something. If Philly goes 2-5 next year to start the season, they're going to ask for Sirianni's head.
Like they did with Peterson, who was the coach
That's right.
the last time.
That's right.
Yeah, they wanted Peterson out of town so fast.
Well, like they were giving Campbell static for this year because we didn't. It's like 3 years ago, if you said we'd had a 15-win season, you would have fallen to your knees and wept tears of joy, you know, and kissed the soles of this man's feet. So
look at how things changed, though. Now it's like because we didn't get one playoff win, everybody's like, "Oh,
everyone was crawling up his backside." And it's like, yeah, you guys did know that the defense had pretty much been wiped out by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because if you ever actually tried to play that game,
they've been saying this about Patrick Mahomes, what I'm about to say, for years, which is if you contain him in the box, if you don't let him run, you'll beat him.
You know, I talk
and
about
that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did.
That's what the Buccaneers did 4 years ago. when the Buccaneers
Nailed him.
beat him.
But was it me? Did Mahone look like he had a pot belly? He looked fat.
Well, that wouldn't
know-
stop you from being a good quarterback. Ask Sonny Jurgensen.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, remember
Sonny
some of the
Jurgensen.
pitchers? Remember some of the pitchers who'd get like fat as balloons and still be like receivers that could come in and throw heat?
Please welcome Mickey Lolich.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. You'd have what they call fat leagues.
David Wells.
David
Wells.
Wells.
used to-
What was it, Lopez?
David Wells practically smoked cigarettes on the mound, you know. So.
Was it Lopez?
CC Sabathia.
Yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
God, yeah,
CC Sabathia. There's a good one.
He's like 325 pounds, just waddling up to the
Bartello Colon. Bartello Colon. There's another
No, his excuse was that was shirt fat.
one.
Shirt fat.
God. Oh,
Hey guys, are we going to get Alex Bregman?
who is he?
Nobody's following the Tigers hot stove league.
No.
Are the Commanders going to get the guy from Cleveland?
Oh.
I saw I think somebody faked us out. Somebody put a meme out there that he got traded to Pittsburgh, but I heard now that it's not true. So don't believe everything you see on social media.
You know, if Mike Tomlin was anybody but Mike Tomlin, this would have been his last year.
Didn't
Yeah.
he get fired? Didn't Tomlin
No,
get fired?
no.
By the same token, Sam,
I gotta clear out my social media.
Any good coach has to have a back office or front office, whatever, who can get him some players. I mean,
But he hasn't been successful in a while.
in a while. That's true. And at a certain point, you have to move on. Even Sparky Anderson got fired from both the Reds and the Tigers. Oh, yeah, he had also gotten your World Series. You know, but you have to have those people in the back, like Sheila Ford, who finally hired some people, stepped away and said, no, I'm going to let the professionals run the program.
My favorite line of Sparky Anderson's is, when I walk to the mound to take you off and bring in a relief pitcher, I'm going to hold out my hand, put the ball in my hand like it's an egg, and walk off the mound. Don't you ever show me up.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, that was back in the time, though, when a pitcher hated to be pulled out for the reliever. You know, when going 9 innings was kind of an expected thing. And now you've got what? They go, what, 7 and a half?
Now it's like 5 innings.
Yeah, they bring in the mid reliever, the short reliever.
The monkey singing, I'm a reliever.
I'm
I'm really.
You know who wrote that song?
Uh-oh.
You know who wrote I'm a Believer?
That's the 2-minute warning. That was Neil Diamond, wasn't it?
That is correct.
Yeah, but I was going to say
Neil
Goffin and Carole King also wrote some hits for them. Pleasant Valley Sunday. It's Goffin King.
Mike Nesbitt.
Yeah, he wrote different drum, and one of the monkeys to do it, and they're like, no, we're not going to do this.
And his mother invented Whiteout.
Yes.
Stone Ponies ended up doing that, right?
They ended up had a huge hit with it.
Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt had a huge hit with it. But Don Kirshner was just such an asswipe about who's going to record what.
A man totally devoid of personality. Hello, this is Don Kirshner. I'm all a Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, it's 5:59.
All right, well, guys.
Oh, it's coming.
We're done with our hour here tonight. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Sorry I kept you in the dark.
That's fine. Let me put this up here. There, go ahead and click the like button when you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching it anywhere else, go to YouTube and click the like button because no one else monetizes the way YouTube does. So,
or if your head is scratching, push the lice button.
There you go. You can subscribe. And if you subscribe to our YouTube page, there's the address down there, youtube.com/theoffnight. Please join us.
Everybody looks so handsome except me.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is the best sites. This is the best you've looked at in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I kept you in the dark.
Well, we'll be busting chops again next week. Every week at 8 o'clock, it's the off night. Join us again next week. Thanks, everybody. Stick around.
Stay well, everybody.
Yeah, we'll chat after we go off here. Yep.
Watching the movie Dark Star. Okay.
Oh, my God. That's a great movie.